everybody, and welcome back to the Co-op Pokemon League. My name is Braden, and we're here with a broadcast of the review of Match Day 1. So yesterday, the 4th, was the first match of the Pokemon League, the first 4 matches of the Pokemon League. Had some great games yesterday. Today is just going to be a quick review over all of that, and then we'll start looking into tomorrow's matches, which you should get excited for, because there's some good matches coming up tomorrow also. But let's go ahead and quickly review all the matches. So we had Team Mac versus Team Percy. Ended up being 1-4 with a super performance from Michelle, getting 4 kills in during her performance. Team Mac getting unlucky with a lot of misses. Believe it ended up being 3 misses, 2 fire blasts and a bounce miss. So Mac can go out of this match with their heads high, knowing that this match could have gone differently if they could have just hit a few of those attacks. On to the next match. We have Team Tim versus Team Brenna. Ends up in a 4-2 victory in favor of Team Tim, with Percy being the standout performance. Ended up getting outspeeding and getting a one-shot on Isaiah, which definitely changed the whole outcome of the game. And overall, just another shocking victory. We expected Team Mac and Team Brenna to pick up victories in their first matches, but it's gone the other way. And now down to Team Briar versus Team Andy. Ends up in a 3-4 victory for Team Andy. Ends up being a very close game. 9% HP, I believe it was, on Grace. And Grace ends up getting man of the match and a possible candidate for player of the day. Same thing goes for Percy in that regard. And down to Josh versus Joe. Ends up in a 2-4 victory in favor of Team Joe. And there are no really standout performers in that match, that we did not decide to list any. But that match was a fairly routine game. It wasn't too far off. But overall, Team Joe got the victory in a decently comfortable fashion. So that covers all of the matches. Let's head down to our accolades for the day. We're going to be covering match of the day, shock of the day, and player of the day. Let's go ahead and get straight into match of the day, which has to be Team Mac versus Team Percy. Probably the most entertaining match of the day. Ends up being the greatest shock. It has the greatest margin of victory with a 3-point victory. And honorable mention does go to Briar versus Andy, Team Briar versus Andy, due to that great ending to the game. Like I said, I think it was 9%. I know it was under 20% HP for Grace, though, going into that final fight. Now down to shock of the day. We have Team Mac versus Team Percy and Team Tim versus Team Brenna getting shouts here, but we're going to give it to Team Mac versus Team Percy. That was just a greater shock to us. This was the match that we expected to go heavily in favor of Team Mac, but it ended up going the opposite way, and Team Percy picks up a great victory in the first game of the season. So they get shock of the day. And then player of the day. There's 3 candidates for this. We have Michelle from Team Michelle from Team Percy, Grace from Team Andy, and Percy from Team Tim. But we have decided to give it to Michelle due to her performance against Team Mac in the first game of the season, getting herself 4 kills in that game. Grace, on the other hand, puts up a great performance to just hold on and get a victory for Team Andy in a very close match, while Team Percy gets a couple key victories to take Team Tim into the second match with a victory. So that covers all of our accolades. Let's head down to tomorrow's matches. So we're going to have Briar versus Josh at 8 a.m. with Team Mac versus Team Brenna at 10 a.m. Heading into noon, it will be Team Tim versus Team Joe. And heading into the 3 o'clock hour, it will be Team Andy versus Team Percy. Some quick predictions from myself. I can see Team Briar taking a win against Team Josh, but I think that game will be fairly close. Then Team Mac versus Team Brenna. I can see Team Brenna getting a victory here just due to some fire type advantages. Down to Team Tim versus Team Joe. I don't know if Team Tim will get lucky in this match, so I'm going to give it to Team Joe. And Team Andy versus Team Percy. I think Team Percy might be able to replicate what they did against Team Mac. So I'm actually going to give this one to Percy, Team Percy. So that covers all of our matches. Make sure you're here at 8 a.m. tomorrow to see the first matches of the day. And if you guys have any ideas for extra things to put into these review videos, let me know down in the comments or find me in person. And that's all I got for you. Hope you all had a good time, and goodbye.